Good morning, and it's not just any ordinary Tuesday, is it?
It isn't. Trial Tuesdays.
There we go. I love the name of this segment. And this Tuesday, we're talking about property leases and the new land registration regime. And we've got two special guests, don't we?
Yes, so we have the CMS Daly Inamdar partners, Harpreet, Ubhi, and Stella Situma with us.
There we go. We're going to jump into all of this about property law. It's something that everyone needs to know.
Correct.
So if you want to know more with CMS Daly Inamdar, keep it here to Radio 44. You on the Morning Fix. These siblings are now suing each other for the RDB brand. Did you know that?
But just two of them.
The two remaining ones.
Yes.
One unfortunately passed away. But I thought in light of talking about suing and things like that, since it is a Trial Tuesdays, we would get into that. Well, this week on Trial Tuesdays, we're actually talking about property law. So we're talking about property leases, the new land registration regime. If you're familiar with it, you know it's a constantly changing arena, and sometimes you can get a little bit confused.
Yes.
And we've partnered up with CMS Daly Inamdar to break down this topic. And right now we're joined by two partners from CMS. That is Harpreet and Stella. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, that's in unison.
Yes,
That's nice.
already. No one's suing each other here.
Hopefully. I'll see you for the Morning Fix label. There we go.
Yeah, maybe. But I want to ask you, let's get diving into it already. What rights does a spouse have to a marital home when, especially, it's only registered or only known on the partner's name? So on the spouse's name,
So in cases where it's just one spouse who's appearing on the property, the other spouse has rights which are provided for under the Matrimonial Property Act. And the rights we picked are three. Firstly, it's the right to give consent for any transactions involving the property. Say, for instance, you want to have the property disposed of through sale, or maybe you want to charge the property in favor of a bank. The other spouse whose name is not on the title will need to give the consent before registration can be done. The second right is the right not to be evicted from the matrimonial home. However, this only applies where the marriage is subsisting. So it cannot exist where the parties have separated or they are undergoing a divorce proceeding. And then there are also exceptions to this right, in the sense that, for instance, if the property had been charged and the bank now wants to sell the property because of default, that right is overridden by the bank's right to sell off the property. Then also, if a party has obtained a judgment against the spouse whose name is on the title, and the judgment is to the effect that the property needs to be sold off, in that case, the other spouse may also be evicted from the property. Then the last right is the right to lodge a caution or an order preventing dealings with the property, where the spouse whose name is not on the title is apprehensive that there could be improper dealings or fraudulent dealings involving the property.
Okay, so there you go. Just because your name might not be on the paperwork doesn't mean you don't have a right. That's a conversation we hear a lot. My name's not on the paperwork, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You might actually have a right there, and we hope that's helped you.
I have one more question on this. I know for that fact you need to have a marriage certificate or some sort of marriage proof in Kenya, right?
It's interesting. There have been developments in the law. Customary marriages are now recognized.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to be careful, actually. You need to realize if you are married to the person, are you just dating, living together, cohabitants? So that is a rough area that you need to get clear on. If you have any questions, message us right now, 0758 123 444. This is Trial Tuesdays with CMS Daly Inamdar and The Morning Fix. Weeknd absolutely killed that song and it couldn't get better. But then you throw Ariana Grande in there.
Boom!
That is
Got
what
a better one.
Yep, that's what you call an absolute banger. It was Save Your Tears, the remix featuring The Weeknd and Ariana Grande. And this morning on the Hot Takes, we are having the feature called Trial Tuesdays.
Trial Tuesdays, that's right. Where we're going to be talking about property leases and the new land registration regime. And we're joined by partners of CMS Daly Inamdar, Harpreet and Stella. Welcome to the show once again.
Thank Thanks, guys.
We're so happy to have you, and in particular because the land regime seems to be always changing. It's one day it's this thing, the other day it's that one, and you can get a little bit mixed up. So maybe Harpreet, you can give us a little bit of an overview of what the changes have been, and if there are any key changes we should be aware of.
Well, Radhika, thanks for having us on air. That's why you need to come to CMS Daly Inamdar.
There we go.
Right. So, firstly, as Stella has mentioned, spousal consent is now required for all transactions, especially those involving matrimonial property. But of greater interest is the ongoing conversion of land parcels in Kenya. And currently we have 3 Gazette notices that have been published in the Kenya Gazette. The Lands Department is starting off with Nairobi, and they will be moving further out into the country once, I suppose, Nairobi is done. The notices have batched titles, and they provide timelines within which persons who are aggrieved by the notices should lodge their complaints. At the moment, no specific complaints have been described, so you're looking at things like, has my acreage been captured properly, and just seeing that what is on your current title matches what is going to be on your new plot number as allocated. And of more interest to developers, there's been an enactment of the new Sectional Properties Act. And why I say developers is because you see apartment building, block building, subunits are quite popular at the moment. And this law requires that you now register sectional plans with the land registry. And in addition to this, all common areas will be jointly owned by various unit owners.
Oh.
Yeah, previously you would get a 99-year or whatever term lease, which has been extracted from what we call the parent title. But a Sectional Properties Act gives you an individual title deed. So, I mean, we're still exploring how we're going to do this, but it's actually quite exciting.
So there'll be like a separate deed for the common areas of apartment blocks. Is that what you're saying, or have I?
No. So if you're buying an apartment, let's say, you would then get an individual title deed as Radhika.
Okay.
Yeah, but you will also have ownership in the common area jointly with, let's say, Bhargav, your neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad you've cleared it up. It's really simple once she's cleared it up. I can't sit there and read a Gazette notice. I don't have the time for that one. But thank you for that. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with us at 0758 123 444. Up next, we've got some brand new music. It's Jasmanak with Jeeni Karda. Radio44, this is 91.6 FM, and this morning we are deep into Trial Tuesdays. We're joined with CMS Daly Inamdar. We've got 2 of their partners, Stella and Harpreet, with us, and we've been discussing property law. And we got one question that's very, very interesting, and it almost opens a whole can of worms. It seems to be from a wife who wants to remain anonymous, but she's saying that her husband has charged their matrimonial home to a bank, who then gave him a loan for his company. She's asking what type of protection that she has, even though the matrimonial home is in the husband's name. So I know you already touched on it, but I think you should go back there and help this lady out.
As I indicated earlier, in all transactions with matrimonial property, the spouse requires to give them. So the land act amended in 2012, at that point, most of the banks went back to the borrowers and went with fresh charges with the consent of the spouses annexed to the charge. So it will be prudent for her to establish whether a consent was signed. And even if the consent was not signed, she's still protected in the event that maybe this matter comes up and say there's an issue. The section allows her to apply for relief from the court, where the court could even drop the charge that the dealing was unfair, or was obtained coercion. Yes.
So that's a really interesting area. I think we see this happen a lot with husbands and wives, where the wife might be left in the dark and she doesn't know her exact rights. So if you are, you have a marital home with your partner, it is important you know what rights you have, and that I hope that helps you, and we can figure out a way. If not, just go see CMS.
Exactly. They'll solve the problem.
They'll sort it out.
Now, my question to you, Harpreet, is are there any special provisions to non-Kenyan citizens who own property in Kenya?
Okay, well, the right to own land in the first instance is governed by the Constitution of Kenya. So if you are a non-citizen, the first thing, well, you can't own agricultural land as a given, but you can own land as long as it's more than 99 years. And let's say, for example, you acquire what is known as a freehold title. the freehold in that title will be reduced to 99 years.
So you still can own land with certain limitations.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as it's not agricultural land.
Okay, there you go. No farming going on.
No farming.
That's it. That's
There
it.
we go.
That's why building company can
Yeah, we're building left, right, and center.
buy an office.
Who needs to farm? But you can come to us for special advice because we do have some ways and means in which we can assist.
There you go. That's a very good disclaimer
Yes.
at the end.
Legally.
All business only. There
No
you go.
funny business.
This is the Child Tuesdays on the Morning Fix with CMS Daly Inamdar. If you have any more questions, please message us at 075-123-444. We're inching closer to 9 minutes to the top hour. On Radio 44, it's Child Tuesdays with the CMS Daly Inamdar advocates. And this morning we're to Harpreet and Stella with CMS all about property.
A lot. It's a lot to take in.
It's very deep. You've broken it down so well. It's very
Precisely.
digestible.
Yes, exactly. Now, one question to you about land law. It's a complex one. And the worst place everyone has one of land law.
Tell me about it.
That's the worst thing. So, are there some myths around it? And what are some of the mistakes that landowners or renters also do when purchasing or renting a property?
Okay, so I'll start off with landowners. I think one of the first things that landowners ought to do is look at user on their title, because your user is specific to what you can and can't do on your property. And you have, for example, someone who wants to put up a commercial complex or a user which is residential. So that in itself is a breach. So first thing that landlords have to do is get users to see that they can actually do what they want to do.
And can they change it?
Yes, they can. It's a long-winded process, but it can be worse. Right? The second thing that landowners ought to look at is their title time as left to run. So most titles in here are leasehold, meaning that you give you by the government for a specific period of time. Now, people tend to think that things go on virtually, and they look at how long is left. So one of the things that we face quite often as well is, my lease coming to end, what do I have to do? And you literally just have to apply for an extension from the government. It takes a long time. So our advice to landowners is to start the process at least 7 to 10 years in advance of the lease will come to an end. But it can take that long to get that up and do it. Yeah.
There's so many approvals that need to be obtained at different levels. First, you get the county government, you go to the planning department, you go to the Ministry of Land. So by the time you get approvals, could be a year or even 2.
Yeah,
And
just
it's
get
no
the
harm
approvals.
doing it in advance as well.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's such a serious matter about land, you would rather get all of your business sorted in time. In light of this and in light of the complexity of land law, Stella, are there any terms in a sale or a lease agreement that people should be aware of, or terms that you recommend people include?
In contracts for sale, I would really recommend for listeners to look out for the payment terms, especially the payment of the deposit if it's a purchase and the payment of the balance. Reason being, late payment attracts interest, and the interest rates are discussed and agreed between the parties. Sometimes they could be unconscionable. Someone could propose even 24% per annum. So if you fail to pay the timelines, you are slapped with interest. And if you delay further, so the interest keeps accumulating.
Oh, no, I think it is
We have to do
equal.
that.
Well, if you have any more questions, we're running a little bit close to 9 o'clock, so get them in on 0758 123 444. Remember, you can also drop us a call.